She Said, He Said is sponsored by Times Media Company and Lee Enterprises. Our show is recorded each week at Creative Space Place Studios in Hobart, Indiana.
You're listening to She Said, He Said with Karen and Jerry Davidge, a potpourri of everything that has to do with relationships and the baggage that comes with it, because there's a lot to unpack.
What's it like to be married to a police officer?
What's it like to live with a high school teacher?
And what's it like to be the same cop and the same teacher when a bomb threat is called in at school?
Troy and Carrie Williams tell us on today's show.
Part of the conversation I want to have with you, what's it like to live with a cop 24/7? And what's it like also, Troy, on your end, to live with a woman who has not just 2 kids or 4 kids, but 34 kids every year, and they're always different or something?
If I can go first?
Okay.
Can he go first?
Approved.
All right. And that's how they work. Evolution.
I think I had, since I was the school resource officer for 6 years.
That's right.
So I had some insight to the day-to-day operations of being in the school.
True.
And so seeing what the teachers deal with on a daily basis. So I had that appreciation. I mean, I knew she was a teacher when we first went out, when we got back together, but, seeing that on a day-to-day basis and what they have to do, and, you get 30 kids in a class. If 4 of them have a problem, and you have, 5 classes?
Chaos.
6 classes now, in 4 in every class. Now you got 24 kids with a problem.
God.
And trying not to bring that home is almost impossible.
Can't imagine that.
I can't either.
We
It's
couldn't do
impossible.
that.
Yeah,
it is impossible.
So, and, we can talk about what, the state's doing in education and whatnot, but it just, over time, I definitely have an appreciation, because I know how important, education is and how it affects kids' lives. So to have someone who, takes it seriously and cares about kids, I appreciate that.
She gives a damn.
Yeah.
And just to add to it, it's one of those things that sometimes as a teacher, you give so much of yourself. I mean, it's like a dog and pony show. You are entertaining. You are wiping, they're high school kids, but not literally wiping noses, but, you're solving problems, saying that's, I'll send you to the nurse. Okay. Oh my gosh, you need, paper, pencils. Okay. Like, I will provide you with supplies. I just need you to provide the motivation, So it's always, kind of always scanning the room. Who's having an issue? Whose head is down, and why is their head down? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they hungry? Are they depressed? Did something happen? Are you hurt? So there's always just the mind is constantly going and surveying and trying to preemptively answer questions or look for things, So, and then of course in the outside noise, like, oh my God, did I just hear a noise in the hallway?
Yes.
It's just someone laughing loudly. Like, oh God, oh my God, someone just popped a bag. So there's just always like, what was that? There's just it's just frantic
Constantly
in my
on edge.
head, of like, what was that? Oh my God, so there's a lot of worrying. I'm going to use the word PTSD, but but there's
Border right there,
there's a lot of like, always kind of wondering, waiting for the other shoe to drop if there's something else. So, for lack of better words, it's really a constant state of worrying, which is exhausting.
Of
course it is.
So,
And then you bring that home.
well, yes,
Or you
and
have to go
I would
home.
probably say I'm much nicer to the children and colleagues at school than I am at home, because I am done. I am done solving problems.
Yes.
I'm done answering questions. Don't make me have to.
I'm home, Troy. Where's my drink?
So in a perfect world, comes home, if she could get 45 minutes to herself to decompress, but it doesn't always happen, because either dinner, kids, commitments, whatever.
Right.
But I think you'd like to be able to come home and just sit down. And
I
like-
usually just slide Karen food and walk away. That's what I do.
Right.
Like,
I
literally.
don't want to have to answer what's for dinner. I don't know. That's one more question I have to answer, So, there's just a lot of, I usually drive home in silence. I don't want one more question. I don't want one more thing. I don't want to.
Decompress.
Yes.
Little
I just need-
vacuum chamber
Yep.
thing. Yeah.
Just let me do my thing, and I'll just. Whew,
big
it's so
need that.
Yeah. It's absolutely.
And where we have this, special dynamic, or this dynamic being an officer. So, Portage just had their, the bomb threats where they went on lockdown. So, I'm at the station. I hear the radio call, like the SRO is asking for officers, and they say signal 10 means lights and sirens. So if they're asking for that, there's a problem.
Right.
So
You immediately think Carrie.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's Carrie, then cop or something.
Yeah, well,
Your
I'm
concerns.
sorry. I know how, especially in today's world, how dangerous it can be, with these type of events,
Right.
and you can't ever treat them like they're not real.
Nope.
Exactly.
So I'm doing 100 miles an hour down airport trying to text her, but I'm like, I can't text because I'm going to crash. So I get to the building, and then, I'm here. You go in, walk around. I'm outside your door. So, I'm trying to give her an update. And then I've got, Mackenzie's texting me, hey, is this real? And so, I won't say fairly quick, but, once we got there and we knew what we had and we had, enough officers there. But at that moment, she was in a room. She was on her plan hour, so she was by herself.
Yeah, I didn't have any students, which is a
that good or
blessing.
bad?
It's a blessing and a curse.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like I'm not responsible for anyone, so that's a blessing. But also, I think if I was responsible for someone, keeping them calm, keeping them, my brain would have focused on
Sure.
being the adult
Oh,
and
that's
keeping everyone
right.
calm.
Right.
By myself, I'm like, oh God, what if this
Right.
is it? I'm in my room by myself, and as a mother, I'm like, where's my child right
Exactly.
now? I'm like, I kind of know her schedule, but I don't know exactly what room she's in, and I'm like,
Right.
oh my God, if I have to get her, well, how am I going to get her? I need to get her, So there was that panic,
Sure.
and then of course the friends from the outside world, hey, we heard this thing is going on. What's
Right.
going, and I'm
Exactly.
like, and they're like, oh my God, we're so scared for you. I'm like,
Oh, no, I'm
okay,
scared now
yeah,
too,
No, I'm
right,
scared
yeah.
too, And then another friend is like, I'm in my room by myself too. I just sent emails to my family telling them goodbye just
Oh
in
my
case,
God.
And I love them, and so you
It's
start when your
traumatizing.
friends are telling you
Traumatizing.
these things over text, and that's your only way of communicating. You're like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is real, and like, what if it's not? Because we didn't get a lot of information. Now, I'm not saying that we can't have real bombs, but I'm much more not as worried about a bomb threat than an active shooter.
Of
But at
course.
that time, we didn't know what it was.
Right.
So I'm just straining to hear, like, can I hear anything? Do I hear a commotion? Do I hear fighting out there? I'm like, do I hear anything? And so
Wow.
you're just like, okay. I'm like, okay, I don't hear anything,
Yeah.
And so there's the anticipation. So like I said, if I had students, I probably would be,
You would have to.
we're fine.
You would
We're
have
going to
to.
keep calm.
Right.
But without that, I was like,
Right.
it was very nerve
At that
wracking.
moment, Troy, then what are your thoughts as a cop versus as a husband and a father? Because you're walking into the school as a cop, but in the back of your head going like, where's Carrie? Where's the kid? That kind of stuff.
She's like, if we ever have a active shooter here or a call, you better be at my room first. And and as the husband, and I get
I go,
that.
if I die, I will so divorce you.
That's it. I told you.
But again, every situation is different. We get there, and again, came out as kind of a bomb threat, and so at that point, you're just checking the hallways, checking the bathrooms. I'm trying. Again, the blessing and curse of texting with phones.
Right.
So I could text her,
Okay.
but kids were texting their parents, and so if I got one text, I got 100, and so when I had time, if I could respond back, like we're here, we're checking on it. But yeah, there is some fear in the sense that if I'm not there to get, and I'm type A personality, I want to be in the middle of something.
Right. Yeah, we've learned that. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
can tell you a story about 2 days ago. So just being there made me feel comfortable again because I don't know, lack of a better way to say it, my skill level, and I know the school and I know
Yeah.
what's going on. And so, or she might not necessarily have felt as safe just in the beginning. I felt safe enough for the both of us in the sense because I know what's going. I
Sure.
had more information than
Of
she
course.
did.
Right.
And then when we were done, when it was kind of over, when they were releasing students, she had to stay for a meeting. But I was, they asked us to stay until all the students were out of the building. So, and I didn't know if it would. I didn't think about it at the time, but as our friend group that we normally hang out with, their kids were exiting the building near where I parked. So I just started taking pictures of them and sending
Waving
them
the
to
camera.
Yeah.
and sending them to the friends.
good.
And I felt a sense of relief that
Right. Right.
And the friends were grateful. They're like, okay, good. I know. We knew it was okay because the back of it was going home,
Right.
but just visually having a picture of your
Absolutely.
child is
Yes.
like, okay,
Yes.
it's real then,
Right.
So when you two get home after not just that day, because that's an extreme day,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
on any given day, then how do you make it work? Because we can kind of wrap up the segment of how you guys make it work with that kind of dynamic at work. Because ours is nothing.
Yeah,
I'm a silly columnist. She's a dental hygienist. It's not a big.
No.
So living with an officer, I
Yeah.
mean, has long periods of nothingness, and infrequent periods of super high stress.
Sure.
You know, like and usually it's something crazy or like, so I'm like, sometimes, you know, he'll text me on my way to a call and like, I'm like, oh God, be careful, you know? So there's that.
Of course.
Most of the time I'm not worried about him, but you know, it's because I know some police wives are like, the second he leaves that door, I don't have that kind of feeling, you know. But if he tells me there's a hot call or something dangerous going
right.
on, then I start to like,
course.
okay.
Yeah.
He's very confident in his abilities, but you know, I'm like, can you be like the last one to show up? I
Drive a little slower.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel
That's not
a
who I
lot.
am.
Just a little
I'd feel
slower.
a lot better if it was kind of taken care of by the
Yeah,
time you
that's
got there. But that is
Well, if I was the
not-
cop, that'd be me. I'd be late at every call.
Well, there
Did I
are
miss
cops
something?
like that.
Did I
but-
miss something? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
that's not who he is. And so I'm like, could you maybe let the younger guys go ahead?
Yeah.
Let them be. You don't have to be the first one there. So that's nerve wracking. And I'm like, you've seen all the movies where the guy close to retirement, something bad always happens to him.
right,
I'm
right.
like, could you try to be a little more careful?
Next up, we chat with Lisette Guillen, executive producer for Case File Chicago.
See these pennies? These are hand-painted pennies.
Yes.
So recently in September, we did a wellness walk for police officers. We visited all 22 districts of the Chicago Police Department.
Oh my gosh.
And we walked. I didn't walk because I drove the
course.
car with supplies, but some of the officers walked. And Robert Swiderski, who is the founder of Running for Blue Eyes, we went to every district, did it in 3 days,
Really?
nonstop. And we visited each district, and we gave them a hand-painted penny. That one's for you, and this one's for
thank
you.
you.
Oh, thank
And
you.
what it is, it's a reminder of their, yeah, isn't it beautiful? A reminder of their mental well-being and health, because a lot of our officers in Chicago are really feeling so down, and we've lost a lot to suicide.
Yes,
Oh.
I've been reading about that.
So we did this walk, and then those pennies are a promise. We're working to get some challenge coins made, and then we'll, here's your challenge coin for that. But
When did the walk take place?
September. So we're going to start planning for next year already. But it was wonderful. It
Really?
was so great. We walked through the neighborhoods. I mean, nonstop, 24 hours, 24. I think it was over 100 miles.
Oh my God.
Nonstop. It was awesome.
I think the community in general doesn't realize the price that police pay. I mean,
Yeah.
I just wrote a column today that's running in a couple days. I did like a ride with a cop kind of column.
yes, yes,
Hobart
I've been
PD.
following that,
It was
yes.
Tommy Tatum actually.
Yes, I
And he was
followed.
telling me all this kind of backstory stuff that
Yeah.
people just don't realize everything they see and absorb and have to deal with.
Yeah.
And a lot of them burn out,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them, as
Oh,
you said, will take their own life because they just can't handle the pressures after that.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for doing
Thank
this
you.
program.
Yes.
Is there a name
important.
for it? Did you say a name for it?
We just call it Running for Blue Lives,
Okay.
and it really isn't a name. It's just an awareness on, of course, with the whole Truth Project that I run every year. We do a Thank a Police Officer Day, which originated with the whole Truth Project. So every fourth Saturday of the month, or third Saturday of the month of September, is National Thank a Police Officer Day.
Yeah, I
so we
see.
coincided the two, and we got letters. We put the word out. We got letters from all over the country to give to each Chicago police officer to say thank you.
Very
That is
impressive.
beautiful.
It was awesome. There was kids from like California and people that just are watching Chicago so close, and the treatment sometimes that officers get, and they know how bad it is.
Yeah.
And letters from all over. We even had a surplus of letters, and we got Cook County Sheriff's Department involved this year because we had so many to still give to them. So they're going to be included with us next year.
Lisette, this is exactly. I'm going to circle back to end this.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Karen mentioned to you. That thank God for people like you. Honestly, because we don't do that. And then when we hear about this, we go, why didn't we do something like that? Why don't we do that?
But you guys are runners, right?
Well,
Okay, are you guys
Duh.
walked? You guys next year?
Okay.
Next
Oh, we
year,
could do it.
join
Yeah,
us.
we could be a part of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people would just walk, maybe just even a couple blocks. We didn't
Sure.
care. We even had community. We're like, well, we'll walk with you down the block, but we did have our bad apples. And ironically enough, we went through some of the worst neighborhoods in the city, and it was fine. It wasn't until we got to places like Lincoln, Lincoln
What?
Park,
Really?
and when they seen the signs, officer suicide awareness, they were telling us, go kill yourself, pigs.
What?
Get out of here. Oh, it was horrible. We had people cutting us off, cutting the runners off. Even the police were trying to block them. They'd go around. We had a CTA bus even go around the officer and cut us off. It was awful. The
Oh.
abuse we got just within that small radius.
Interesting.
That's awful.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's so ugly. But next year, you guys, please join us.
Please,
We'll let you
yes.
guys know.
We'd love because
that
we
would
need.
be such a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to do it here in Northwest Indiana. It's a huge undertaking in Chicago, so I'm
of
sure here it'd
course.
be much easier.
Sure, it's
Even if
gotta
we
be.
did, East Chicago to Gary and Hammond
Yeah.
or something like
Well,
that.
I'd love to write about it. We'd love to talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
it's
We'll
so
amplify
much
your
fun.
message. Next up, we'll talk with Amy Blaker about the social expectations to drink booze. It's not just the drinking, obviously. There's not just a bunch of alcoholics getting together. It's the whole social connection thing.
Yes.
But we don't do that, and we don't
We
do it
don't
well
drink.
at all. So I'm always marveling when people say that. How do you master that?
Okay.
That
Yeah.
art of conversation.
I don't drink
and
that
drinking?
often. However, when you're in social settings,
Yeah.
drinking, and you're right, drinking has become wildly popular and ingrained in everyday life. Baby shower, alcohol.
See?
You know, and
That's the problem I have.
my mother doesn't drink at all.
God bless Jane.
She doesn't. And so, like, if we went to a kid's birthday party, she just thinks that's the, like, why would you be serving alcohol at a kid?
That's
You know,
just,
but it-
Karen thinks that too.
Yes,
There's
she does.
scruples and standards and stuff like
Yes,
that.
and she just thinks that there's, and that's
Time and a
fine,
place.
Mom.
Was this an AA
Right.
meeting?
But I mean, it is very difficult because there is a lot of societal expectation
See?
on drinking in social settings,
And we get looked down
and when
upon.
you don't do it,
She's pointing at me, by the way. Are we
I
capturing
know that you don't drink. I do know that about
Oh,
you.
oh.
But when you don't do it, and
Yeah.
and I am a social drinker, so I will occasionally. But I mean, if I drank at every social event that I went to, I would be drunk.
You'd be a
all
drunkard.
The time.
Amy the drunkard. New social
Yeah,
media
with a
presence.
Shade on her head.
Yes, exactly. But you're when you don't, order a drink, or when you don't,
People
you're not-
notice.
Yes,
They do. They
Yes.
do.
When I tried to get a job, I think the Post Tribune hired me in initially, I think in 2006 or something, and I had some kind of meeting with a publisher. And he took me aside, and we ordered drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I don't drink. And he says, you don't drink? And I go, no, I just don't drink anymore like that. And he goes, did you have a problem? I'm going.
Which
did
is
I,
rude,
And I'm saying,
right?
and I'm
I
saying,
mean-
did I phrase it that way? I didn't mean to phrase it that way. He goes, did you have a? No. I mean, I didn't have a problem. I just don't like drinking. I don't like the taste of it, so I stopped drinking. But anytime we say that in public settings, people
It's almost more acceptable to tell people I'm sober than just to say I don't like drinking
Yes.
or I don't like the taste.
Yes. And I will say the nice thing about getting older as a woman is that people don't look at you and wink when you don't drink.
What do you
You're not-
mean?
That you're pregnant.
Oh, I didn't think of that at all.
Wow, I'm way beyond that. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
What are you
Karen missed a reference 10 years ago or something. Yeah.
So
What
if
is
you
Amy
don't-
talking
if you
about?
don't have a drink, then it's
Oh, I get it. You're
Yes.
so right.
Interesting. So what I used to do back in the early days, I'd just bring some kind of a can of something, and I'd put like Coke in it or whatever I want, it was a can of beer or something, just to people leave me alone.
I have all kinds of tricks.
Like I'm drinking something, but doesn't it doesn't affect you in any way.
Yes.
Let me do what I want. What's your tricks?
Well,
Give us a couple.
Club soda with lemon and lime always looks like a cocktail.
Oh, it looks
There you go.
alcoholic. Yeah. Do you slur your voice a little bit? Is that one of your tricks too?
No.
Do you kind of hang on people and just fall off the table?
just like, hey,
I've been drinking so much. You're real handsy with somebody.
off.
Oh my God, look at that. That's not one of your tricks. Sorry.
And I've been in
That's our
situations
tricks.
where people are doing shots, and let me tell you, if you see me doing shots, I should have went home 3 hours ago.
Oh.
No. And so you take the shot and you just throw it.
Oh, I've done
On the
that.
floor. I don't know, but
We go to a restaurant that we like a lot, and the owner is so kind to us, and he gives us a shot of something. And at least once I've had to take a shot and go, okay, and I just poured it into my
Yeah.
thing, and
Yes.
whoop, okay, there we
Yeah.
go, because I can't drink it. I mean,
Right.
I really don't want to drink it physically, and I wouldn't.
And like I said, I am I will have a glass of wine
Yeah.
or whatever.
But not
I mean,
17.
But but when I tell you that if I did it at every social place that I went, I really would be drunk all the time, and that's why I
Right.
say I'm not I'm not drinking today, or I'm not. It's hard to say that. It's interesting because I think recently I read an article and it was on LinkedIn, and it talked about how. Women are catching up to men in drinking, and that's maybe not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
But it becomes, like you were saying, part of the workplace.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
It
Having
is.
drinks after dinner. That drink doesn't have to be an alcoholic drink. And I
Exactly.
appreciate restaurants that have mocktails and
Oh,
things like
yeah.
that, or I'll ask.
I'm all about the Shirley Temples, Amy.
yeah. And now for a lovely waste of time.
Hey, can we talk about food?
I'd love to talk about food.
there's a segment we want to, it's called Off the Eaten Path. Not beaten, but eaten, off the eaten path of places that exist. We didn't know they existed until we bopped into them or somebody suggested. And next thing you know, it's like our favorite place ever. This happened to us just last week. We were in Crown Point biking around, and there's a place right on the square, and it's called something with a P.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, what is it called? Prevench?
Proveco?
Proveco? We can't even pronounce it.
Provecho.
Didn't matter.
I'm so sorry.
First off, we went there thinking it's an Italian joint. So I'm going, okay, I'm going to get some Italian bread and some oil and some cheese.
Pasta.
And I don't care what else they have.
Yeah.
If they have oil and cheese and bread, I'm good to go for at least an hour.
Yeah.
So we parked the bikes, we get it there, I'm expecting that, and it wasn't that at all. It was
No,
like
it was Latin Provisions.
Latin,
and
like a
it's
fusion. Sorry, go ahead. I
yeah,
cut you
Latin
off.
fusion, but it's
either way.
mostly like Spanish inspired.
So we didn't. I'm about as waspy as you can get as a diner. Really, I'm the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the waspy guy. I don't try
I don't like
adventurous
spice.
foods.
But neither do I.
What's your spice level? They ask. I go, oh, you have like a 0.5 or 0.1. I want
Negative
nothing at
1.
all. Yeah, just a hint,
Yeah.
a hint of spice. So I didn't know what to order, but we ended up ordering tacos. I think it was.
Yes,
and the best corn dish entree I've ever had in my life.
It's called aioli.
Aioli, we think it
think.
is. It was the best corn
And so
entree of
it
any
was
kind
so
I ever had.
Good.
Yeah, and I think it was $12, and I would have paid 15
Yeah.
at least. I had no idea what it was.
It was
what I was
delicious. The
ordering.
whole experience. The restaurant was beautifully decorated.
Yeah.
We sat outside.
Yeah.
Everything about it was top notch. Our waiter was sweet
Yeah.
and efficient and 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10
it
out of
was
10.
It was so good.
So this is a place that we bop into, and of course we are food addicts. We are restaurant addicts as well. We love going to places. It doesn't have to be pricey at all.
Oh, no.
I mean, we've eaten White Castles on Indy Boulevard on the curb, literally with our bikes behind us, and cost like $5, and we're quite content as
Yes.
Hammond motorists are blowing past us, and and getting a little too close to the curb for our comfort, but we didn't really
they don't care.
because that was the only table we could find at that point.
Yeah, and it was a nice day, so we didn't mind sitting on the street.
Yeah, so
we
we'll
literally
we'll-
ate on the
street of Hammond. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll
I'll
eat
do it
anywhere.
again.
We'll do it again tomorrow.
And we've also eaten at Geja's in. No, I'm sorry, I just said that wrong. Geja's in
Geja's,
right next to
right.
the Park West. On is it Lincoln?
Yeah, on West Armitage in Chicago, I think. Or it's
Oh.
Armitage, though. Yeah, yeah. That's
Chef
probably
kiss.
the best dining experience we've ever had in our life, and that was somewhat
Fondue.
recently. We were before a Joe Jackson concert at the
Yeah.
Park West. So we went from White Castle curb of Indy Boulevard to this Geja's place in Chicago and other places in between. And
Other
we would like
places
to
in
know
between.
if you're listening or watching. We would
Where
love
should
to
we
know.
go?
Yeah, what is off the eaten path that we should know? And we have a long list already from social media friends. who
Yeah, we
suggested.
cannot wait.
So we're going to get started on that, and then we're going to come back and share our experience and say, was it a dive? Was it like a 1 fork, 2 fork, 3 fork, 4 fork? That's like a song. I don't know what I'm saying. But we're going to, we're looking forward to it.
Yes,
And
definitely.
it all was prompted from this place in Crown Point.
Yeah.
We had no idea what it was or anybody would enjoy it. Yeah, there's the card. And oddly enough, I commented, I think, on social media how much we enjoyed it. And I think I also put it on Twitter. And,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And they saw that and said, thanks for coming in. We
Yes.
appreciate it, which is very kind that they
It
even saw
is.
that. So we will be back. And if you have a
Definitely.
suggestion for off the eaten path,
Yeah.
we will talk about your place as well.
Absolutely.
And even if you're an owner or if you work there.
Yeah,
We'd love to hear about it.
definitely.
Because dining experiences, food is important to people. Food is immensely important.
It is.
We base our day around it.
Because it makes you feel good.
It does. Is it escapism again, in a way?
Oh, yeah.
It feeds us in many ways.
Yes, it
It's not
does.
just the food. It's also the experience.
Yes.
Not just the sustenance, but the substance of it, right?
absolutely.
We enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
And if you go out any night, any given week, and you see people at these restaurants and they're lining up, no matter how bad inflation is bad, the economy is horrible. Remember even during COVID, who was out there dining as much as I could? It was me. Social restriction did not matter to me. I
No,
didn't
it
stop
did not.
any of my habits
No.
during the pandemic because I had to have my food and carry out. I'd wear like triple mask, whatever you
Oh, yeah,
wanted.
you got your stuff. You supported small businesses.
I would do whatever I had to do to get that addiction fed. right?
Definitely.
So we would like to know yours, and if you have an off the eaten bath, did I say it right?
You said bath.
Off the eaten bath. That's another segment. off the eaten path.
Yes.
We would
Let
love-
us know because we
let us
would
know.
love to
We
go.
would love to go there and explore it and taste it and let you know what we think about it.
Definitely.
All right.
All right.
And now we get a sneak peek of the new book from Chuck Swirsky, the radio voice for the Chicago Bulls.
And I've got a story in the book about this Super Bowl and how it crushed him that he didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, we know it did in hindsight. We didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
Ditka would give anything to give him back, to
Yes,
give him a
that's-
touchdown
that's-
instead of putting Perry in there.
Yeah, that's
for
correct.
that easy score.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
Chuck, last thing, tell our viewers, listeners, how they can get a copy of your book. Always a Pleasure by Chuck Swirsky.
You can go to chuckswirskythebook.com, chuckswirskythebook.com, published by the fine folks at Eckhart's Press.
Wonderful. All right. Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
We
much.
appreciate it.
You've been listening to She Said, He Said with Karen and Jerry Davich, sponsored by Times Media Company and Lee Enterprises, and recorded at Creative Space in downtown Hobart. Find us at nwi.com and where you find all your podcasts.
If you enjoy our show, we hope you return with your own viewpoints about couples, relationships, and the subtle or not so subtle differences between spouses, mates, partners, and potential partners. We welcome your opinions, your experiences, and especially your love lessons.